Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Colmar Manor's town meeting for the month of September. It's currently 7:06, and I will accept the motion to start the town meeting.
I'll make that motion to start the town meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion as stated.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that currently Councilmember Bowden is absent and Councilmember Mendoza is absent, and we will take a vote on excusing them after we start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if we can have a moment of silence, in particular for those who are suffering from Harvey and Irma, and the situation, the circumstances that they have coming ahead of them. And let's just have a moment of silence and think through their hearts. Can we have a moment of silence now to rejoice in the life that we do have, in the opportunities that we have, and everything we have in our life, our friends, our family, other loved ones? Let's take a moment of silence and rejoice. Okay, thank you. Okay, we were supposed to have someone here from emergency preparedness. It's crazy that, what's going on in the last week or so, and this was something that we had planned ahead of time. I'm sure many of these people in emergency preparedness are caught up in the things that need to be done now, so they had to cancel this evening. And this is the reason why we wanted to bring back our search team, which stands for Community Emergency Response Team. And to start working on how we get the response team back again. And just in cases of emergency, such as the hurricanes recently, that we have a crew in our community that actually know how to come out and help. So he wasn't able to come. But we do have partner owner in the shopping center who would like to come up and give us an update on what's going on in the shopping center. So thank you for being here, Mr. Rufus Lusk.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chief Lowry. It's delightful to be here with you. I didn't expect to go first, but I'm happy to go first. I just want to recount some of the things that are blessing the business community, and I'm going to do this under the rubric of my text. My text for tonight is from Proverbs, where there is no leadership, Dan, the people perish. You know that one, where there's no leadership, the people perish. I just want to say, as a business person here in Colmar Manor, we really see tremendous leadership, and I know that it's easy to criticize our leaders, and we forget all of the incredible things that are happening because of their leadership. And of course, great teams behind them. So I came into Colmar Manor this morning, and I just want to recount this list of things that blessed me. I'm going down the street, and all of a sudden I see these beautiful medians that have all been replanted. Go Colmar Manor. Then the street project on Bladensburg Road, all the new ADA ramps, all these people out there working. These are all things that don't happen if you all aren't leading. I know that you're working with the Michael companies on redoing the Quinn property, which will be tremendous. You're in the process of buying the vacant parcel between the Burger King and the KFC for some kind of community purpose. I'm going down the street and there's Mike Gorham. He's cutting the grass, but it isn't just Mike by himself. Mike works for the town of Colmar Manor, has for a couple years now. He's got a whole team of people, and they are beautifying the place. And as a landlord, we love that, because people don't want to shop in a place that doesn't look good. In the town of Colmar Manor, and the streetscape, it is looking better and better. We also have a new permeable green sidewalk, which Dan is working on, coming to 40th Avenue. That's fantastic. And Mayor Sadara told me that the Colmar Manor Garden Club is bringing new planters to the shopping center. They're going to arrive shortly. Somebody walked off with our old planters, but they were sort of old, so maybe it's just as well. The new planters are going to be incredible. I also want to thank the chief and his colleagues for helping us at the shopping center with issues of vagrancy and car break-ins. It's extremely important to have a crime-free environment, obviously, for a place that you're shopping. So in so many ways, your leadership is blessing the citizens and the business people of Colmar Manor. Sometimes people say to me, oh my gosh, your properties are in an incorporated town. That means that the taxes are higher. Dan, have you ever heard that? But the other side of that is you get what you pay for, and I'm feeling that we're really getting what we're paying for here in Colmar Manor, because you are taking leadership and doing things to improve life for all the businesses and all the citizens. I do want to just tick off very quickly some things at the shopping center that we're excited about. Who likes Peruvian chicken? Well, Al's Peruvian chicken is coming to our shopping center. We finally got our permits. It took forever. Construction will start next week, and hopefully we'll be open by Christmas. That gets us back to 100% occupancy. We've recently signed new leases with Shoppers and with CVS. They've been here for 30 years. They're happy. And they invest money in their stores. CVS just redid the whole Hallmark area. Shoppers is redoing the butcher shop and the deli. So this is great. And did I mention the Burger King? I was at the Burger King today, and somebody came up to me, and they must have known I was the owner, and they said, oh my gosh, I love the hamburgers, but when are you going to renovate the store? And I said, I'm glad you asked. February. So in February, we're going to tear the store down and build a new store. We have a new 20-year lease with our tenant. We actually have a new tenant. The business was sold to a company called Carol's Restaurant Group out of Syracuse, New York. They own 800 Burger Kings. And the ones in the DC area are the best performing in the entire country, because people in DC are basically a little bit smarter than the rest of the country, and so they realize that Burger King is the way to go for hamburgers, right? So we're very excited about that. That'll kick off in February. Our local liquor store, AJ's, recently expanded from 1,500 to 2,000 feet, so if you haven't been there recently, go and check it out. Trying to upgrade the wine selections there, but there's a lot of stuff. And we remodeled the IHOP, and if you haven't been to the IHOP recently, oh my gosh, you know, it has temptation written all over it. You ought to see these donut things with strawberries on them. Unbelievable. So it's there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're real excited about Colmar Manor, about our stores, our tenants. A lot of them have been with us for 30 years. We have been here for 30 years, And we're not going anywhere because this is the greatest town ever. And thank you all for your leadership, and thank you, citizens of Colmar Manor. If you shop at my shopping center, you're a hero for me. God bless.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rufus.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Les? All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Rufus. Okay, so the next item on here is the mayor's report. We didn't have a meeting in July, but we had National Night Out, and truth be told, we actually had a pretty good time, even though it rained about a half an hour in. Mostly everybody wound up in the Burger King, and people still hang around, and people were still talking to each other and communicating, conversating and everything like that. So it was a really nice event, and I want to thank our police department and working together with Cottage City Police Department and putting that together. I think you guys did a great job. It's been quite an interesting summer. I hope everybody has had a pretty good summer. Now school's back in, and we're back in the cycle again of the other part of the work life that we have. But I've been very, very busy up here, working with the team in organizing more and putting procedures together more in the office space. We now have an inventory of our public works items, and we have a process to ensure that we're not over-purchasing. We also have accounted for all of our office supplies. We cleaned out closets. We've put together, like I said, some procedures, and we're really trying to bring some more efficiency to the town hall, because when we're more efficient in here, then we're more able to service our community. So that needs to happen. Hopefully soon we'll be actually going to a website set up where you'll be able to report any issues or concerns that you have right on the website, where it can be tracked, and you'll know what's happening with the issues or the problems that you have. And we'll be going to Constant Contact, which is an email newsletter type of service. I want to mention that we're going to be sending out a request for your contact information so that we're able to communicate with you. I want to make sure that we are the ones that are communicating the things that are going on here in town. And when we use Constant Contact, excuse me, when we use Constant Contact, no one can see your emails. And it's a safer way to go. Some of you may not realize it, but a couple years ago, Chief Gibson at the time accidentally forgot to blind carbon copy his email list that he had. That email list had a couple of hundred emails on it. Since then, someone, which many of you may know, has taken that email list and has been using it pretty viciously upon us, personally and business-wise. I know I work really, really hard for this town.
Take your time, Mayor.
And information about me and my personal life and some of my financial challenges was just splattered all over the town, and not just in the town, but other towns and everywhere else. I want to say to anyone who is dealing with foreclosure, I understand why people don't talk. People don't say something's going wrong in their life is because there are evil people out there that will take that information and then try to use it against you. And I've gotten so much support and calls and responses from people telling me how they support my response to this kind of attack. I would be capable of helping anyone who may be going through a foreclosure situation. I have battled through it. I've learned a lot from it. knowing where the corners are and where the places to go and how long you should take before you make a move and who you should see when you should see them. This has given me a benefit that I can help other people. So when you struggle in life, that struggle isn't just because you're struggling, it's because you're learning. And a lot of times what you learn is what you learn to help somebody else. I've learned where you can get assistance if you need help with your electric bills or your water or your gas bills. I've learned it because I had to struggle because I got ill and I had problems, and nobody knows how someone gets in a financial situation. And it's simply unfair to simply expose information as if you're making a big funny about something. Oh, didn't you know? Oh, so you can't be a mayor if you're having financial problems? That makes no sense at all. And I want everybody to know who sits in the closet and hides and doesn't get up and doesn't give service and doesn't try to get out there and doesn't run for an office because they have something in their closet that's uncomfortable. You don't have to hide. You don't. And I had many people who knew I was having problems say, how can you run for mayor when you're running into all these problems right now? I said, because I can. And because I'm here to serve and because I think I can benefit this community. I really think I have something to offer this community, and I'm not going to not offer it just because I'm having challenges. So if you guys are aware, I have heard lots of people who've said that they gave their email to Chief Gibson and it was not intended for someone else. So I would urge you, if you're on that list, you need to tell the person who's on the list that you no longer want to be receiving the emails that have been coming out. I mean, they come out like, you know, it's like someone is just in evil mode and shaking and going crazy how much it's just coming out. Instead of talking, the amount of times and the amount of half-truths that are in all these emails, this person is not consulting with anyone before just throwing out innuendo and rumor. This is not the correct way to communicate. And there's nobody who's listening to me right now, who's in this room right now. I want you guys to all understand that this person is not communicating with us. We called him to help us when we had the tree, when we're working on the trees, and that's something that we did this summer, is trying to reduce how many trees Pepco wants to cut down. And he did a pretty good job. His name is Jason Kern, and he did a pretty good job of helping us out with the tree situation and working with Pepco on this, and we were able to save about 6 trees off of their list. But then in a heartbeat, who knows who the rumors are coming from and who the pieces of information are coming from, and all of a sudden it's, oh, could you please use your list and throw all this stuff out? Well, Jason, how come you couldn't pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, this is something that somebody's sending to me, is this true? But no, he just shoots it out there. So at this point, I want to say, Rufus pretty much almost gave my other part of my report. The medians have been fully done now, and I hope you enjoy the curbs. The curbs are all looking nice. The yellow painting on the curbs is brightening up the town. And we are planning to, Public Works should be putting in those vases onto the shopping center pretty soon. And the garden club is going to be working on brightening that up. But I want to let y'all know how I try to work for you. Those medians, as you all know, were disgusting. They were out of control. People couldn't turn at 40th Place. Constantly, we're in contact with whoever our contact is at the county. And, you know, we're getting, yeah, we'll be theirs, yeah, we'll be theirs, yeah, we'll be theirs, and nothing was happening. And so, Dan knows this, I simply wrote our state delegates, county. I sent a letter to the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Transportation, to say, how could we have the front gateway of Maryland, the gateway of the state of Maryland, looking like this? It was a travesty. And Dan will tell you when I did it, and we had response, like in the next day. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to let something like that go on in our town for much longer. But sometimes you just have to go there, and I will, to take care of the residents of my town. So I appreciate you coming out. I've spent a lot of this time, like I said, we're working on systems here, and also on the 90th anniversary. I'm hoping to see everybody come out. We're having a parade that's going to start at 11 o'clock. We're leaving from here, and we'll be going around the town. And then the event actually starts at 12. We have an outstanding lineup of performers. We have excellent games. We're having a game truck for the children, as well as the moon bounce and all the regular kind of stuff. We'll have the skate-mobile there, so there'll be skating, and there's going to be a basketball tournament. So it should be a really exciting, interesting day, September the 23rd. So make sure your calendars are marked and bring your friends and your family. I think we're going to have an exciting time. So if I think of something else to say, I'll say it a little bit later, but I'm just had my say right now, so thank you so much. I will now ask for the council reports. Oh, for the record, Councilmember Bolton is now present. Ward 1?
Yes. Good evening. I would like to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. K. They did Vacation Bible School for the children in the community. It was a nice turnout and the children loved it. Just thank you to them. Also, I worked with Kim Knox and the Maryland University students. We cleaned up the garden here on Newton Street. It looks nice and we're ready for fall planners. Don't forget to check on the sick and the shut-ins, and if there's anything you know someone in your ward needs, contact your representative. Still see dogs and people with dogs who are using the bathroom and they're not picking up. So if you have a pet and you're out here walking them or your dog's out there, please clean up behind your dog. AM and PM bus stop. The kids are back in school, so please slow down going through town. And I want to say I look forward to seeing everybody at the 90th anniversary. And if you need a ride, please call the town hall. Thank you.
Councilmember Bolton, Ward 2.
Oh, I noticed in my ward, people still putting their trash out too early, the trash cans and the bulk trash. So can you please put your trash out on the trash day so it won't have to sit out for the whole weekend? And I like to say happy birthday to my grandson. He's 5 years old and he's going to kindergarten this year.
Oh, great, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Jackson, Ward 3, or Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out. We haven't had this crowd in a while. It's good to see one of my ward residents here that I met a while ago, but thank you all for coming out. Basically, in my ward, I think my report basically is pretty much off of what Councilmember Blue said. We have seen a lot of pet waste where people are leaving it. It's very important that you please pick up your pet waste. I also want to remind the residents we have 2 little free libraries, and I know one of them is in need of more books. I love the idea that the kids now are using the books in the library, but the one that's in front of the Garden Club in Ward 1, if you all have any extra books or you have books that you can donate, please donate to our free little libraries. We're in process of getting more little free libraries. Councilmember Blue has been really on us for putting one by the sign, so we're hoping to get that started soon. Also, I want to say, please come out for please come out for our 90th anniversary. The Garden Club will be selling mums there, and we'll also be selling it at Port Towns Day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilmember Mendoza is absent. She's attending a training class for her certification in the Academy of Excellence in Government. We all have already gotten our, graduated our certifications, and so it's an excellent program that we're going to, so she's at a class today. So is there a motion to excuse Councilmember Mendoza?
I'll make that motion as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Councilmember Mendoza is excused. All right, the next item on the agenda is to give you guys an update on what's going on our, from our work session. So, the first item is the sale of SRECs. Those are solar renewable energy credits. As many of you may know, and if you don't, we have solar panels across this entire building. And so the solar panels, when you're putting energy back onto the grid, you gain credits, and then someone buys those credits. And when they buy the credits, then you make money. Well, we determined or found out that we're actually on the DC grid. Maryland has oversaturated itself with solar panels at this point, so we were not getting very much from our credits anymore. But it turns out we're on the DC grid, and because we're on the DC and Maryland grid, we're able to we're able to sell sell to DC. So thanks to Mr. Baden here, who run ahead and put in all the paperwork and applications and so forth, we're going to be making, I'm going to say something like 500% more, 500, yeah, from about $1,000 to like $7,000. So in the difference in the price that we can get in DC. So Mr. Baden informed us of that, and that is actually going to be great, because that's $5,000 more than what we had in our revenue budget. So good going there, Mr. Baden. Thank you. Thank you. And then we also voted on the cost of a trial board. We recently had a police trial board here at the town, and there were lawyers to pay for. So we had to make the adjustment to pay for the lawyers, and we did that. We did some FY 2017 budget adjustments, which is something that we do every year. At the end of the year, we look at the line items that we have more in, the line items that we have less in, and then move some things around. And as we have reported previously, we have maintained and stayed inside budget throughout the year, and even with the adjustments. So again, thank you, Mr. Baden, but also thank all of you for cooperating and us, making sure we maintain our spending correctly. We got an update on the Newton Street Park Playground Grant. The grant is to put exercise equipment in the Newton Street. We've been working on this for quite some time because we're in partnership with Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. We actually have to work through the bureaucracy that exists there. But at this point, we're ready to get started. We got an update on the CDBG grant. That grant is for us to upgrade sidewalks around, curbs and sidewalks around the community. We got $200,000. $144,000 for that. The CDBG grant monies usually, or even the approvals, don't usually come until like January when you get your contract to get started. So we also got a community legacy grant, which is what Mr. Luss was speaking about, where we're going to put a sidewalk. If you notice, there is no sidewalk on 40th Avenue on the area that goes to the area of the sidewalk next to the Shoppers. So we'll be putting down permeable pavers on that sidewalk. And so we have a grant for that. And we also, we didn't mention it here the other night, but we have a grant from the Chesapeake Bay Trust, which is for engineering, doing engineering for permeable pavers on Newark Road. So the grant will pay for the engineers to give us the drawings or put together how do we put permeable pavers on most of Newark Road, if not all of Newark Road. And then next year, we'll go back into Community Legacy or CDBG to try to get the money to actually do the work. So I'm super excited about that. So then we also talked about the fact that we have the land purchase and that we have a state bond for which we're going to purchase the land next to the KFC and definitely rid us of all of those cars that like to park there. And then we're planning to do right now an outdoor bazaar. So look forward to that happening. Then we talked about MML Fall Conference. I will be attending, and Councilmember Mendoza will be attending. We talked about the median strip update. I mean, at that time, the median strips are just being cleaned out. I mean, they got them cleaned out real good. We had no idea within 3 days they were going to have them actually planted. So that was great to hear. We also talked about doing a resolution. Some of you may not know, but we have passed a policy to pay no less than a single living wage of Prince George's County. So anyone that's working here, which I really believe if you're working a job, you should be able to live, you know. So we are now going to be passing a resolution to that. Mr. Barr is now putting that resolution together, but we agreed to move forward. We also got a circuit rider from the state. We are fortunate, they call them circuit rider town managers, where we'll be sharing this circuit rider with North Brentwood and Fairmont Heights. They'll have 2 days a week each, and we'll have 1 day a week each. So when we bring this person on, the number one job will be managing all these projects, because we got the playground project, we've got the street projects, we've got the purchasing of the land project. So that'll be the main job, is project managing these projects, but also doing a review with Mr. Barr and Mr. Baton and myself and the council on our ordinances and how up to date they are. Because they are, some of them, quite a few, are out of date, and so we want to get those corrected. And there's some changes that we'd like to make in terms of what's actually in the ordinances, because some things impact people in such a way, when you don't have a lot of money, you can't get certain things done. I mean, and one of my real pet peeves is about cars without untagged cars. I think it's, and I've spoken to my senator, I spoke to Senator Ramirez, I've spoke to my delegates, Talo and Fennell, about this. It's discriminating to poor people or people with lesser means, because if you have a car and for some reason you're unable to get that car tagged, but it's a good running car, like my nephew, he had a good running car and he's had some financial challenges in getting it tagged. And so he's been working on that, and his car is in my driveway. Well, quite frankly, somebody called, you know who, and I had to have the car removed. So now my nephew, who has 2 young children, has nowhere to keep this car while he pays off the bills he has to pay off in order to get it tagged. That makes no sense. This wasn't a junk car. It wasn't a junky car. It was fine, and it ran fine. He just don't have a place to put it, and he couldn't put it in my driveway. So, I believe in the law in terms of having junky cars, but I have no understanding why untagged car, because even if the idea is that, in his case, he couldn't get it tagged, but in the case of somebody whose car is not working right now and they're waiting to get the money to get their car fixed, they have to wait to get the money. Most people live paycheck to paycheck. Something goes wrong with their car, they can get it fixed. But you know what? If they keep it tagged, they have to pay insurance. So now you're paying insurance on something that's not riding the streets. So why does it need to be insured? Well, in order for it not insured, you got to turn the tags in. So now you have an untagged car. So we're in a vicious cycle here that really only impacts poor people or people of lesser means. This needs to be fixed. And so that's just one example of some things that we need to look at, in terms of cleaning out some of the records, and that's one of the things that will be happening. So I think that I have covered everything on this list. That's it. That was our work session. So thank you so much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report.
All right, I'll go ahead and give a quick overview of the Treasurer's Report. There were some extra copies on the table over there. I don't know if they've all been taken. If there are and you want a copy, just let us know, and you come and pick one up, or we can send one out to you. The Treasurer's Report has a little different format. As you know, our fiscal year began July 1st, so this is the report for the first 2 months of the fiscal year. As I said, there's a little different format, and I still see a couple items that could be tweaked on it as far as the formatting, but for the most part, it's in its final form. So for the first 2 months of the year, we had total revenues of $45,740. For the summer months, we usually are low on the revenue side, high on the expense side, because most of our larger revenues come in the period October through April. So 45,000 is made up largely of red light camera violations and rental income were the two largest revenue sources for the month. Our total budget for the town for the entire year is $2,635,000, which also includes a surplus or prior year's reserves of $771,000. On the expenditure side, it's made up of general government expenditures of $85,287. Total budget for general government is $810,549. We have payroll taxes and benefits for general government employees of $40,132. Large portion of that is the health insurance, and we pay into an HSA account or health savings account on behalf of the employees. So you'll see that that line item is expended 40% because we put that upfront cost at the beginning of the year. Senior van operations total $7,260. Total senior van operation budget is $45,000 for the year. Code enforcement costs for the 2 months were $7,081 against a $32,000 budget. Public Works, $34,813 for 2 month costs, $243,290 in expenditure. You'll see in there a line item for capital outlay for curb painting. Those were all done in July, all of the yellow curbs that were painted throughout the town. Community Center, Town Hall for the operations of this building, total budget's $101,620. 2 month cost is $18,829. One of the larger costs there is for the insurance, $8,400. Again, that's for the entire year as we are billed for the annual costs at the beginning of the fiscal year. Under public safety, total public safety, $70,942. A large portion of that is related to the salaries, payroll taxes for the police officers. There's also a large figure there of $6,267 for insurance. Again, that's for the vehicles and for the police department. And again, that's paid up front for the entire year. The last page shows the community center operations, which are the programs that are conducted here at the building outside of the general government operations. So these are the recreation things that happen downstairs, the events that happen in the auditorium and throughout the building each day. Total expenditures were $14,711. Total budget is $93,155. Last two items that you see is a designated reserve for Bladensburg Road of $50,000. That is the city's portion of the costs associated with purchasing that property that the mayor talked about earlier up on Bladensburg Road. We received a grant for $50,000, had a $50,000 matching amount. This amount was designated by the council last year and remains in the budget for that purpose. And the final item is the unreserved fund balance, which is the surplus of the town that's been carried forward from prior years of $705,000. Rule of thumb is to have about a 25% surplus. So we are above that. So we are in a strong financial position. On the total expenditures, you can see the total expenditures were $280,000. If you remember at the beginning of the report, I said the expenses were $45,000. So, for the 2-month period, we're operating at a $234,000 deficit, which is normal for this time of the year. So if you look at those figures and go, oh my gosh, we're losing so much money, it's only because of the timing of revenues. Large portion of our revenues come from real estate tax. We receive large portion of that in October based on September 30th due date for your first installment on real estate taxes, and then the second installment comes in December. It's due by December, and we receive in January. So you'll see that deficit flip-flop come October, and we'll be operating at a good positive position at that point. So that's a quick overview of the report, and answer any questions that you have.
Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make it motion as stated.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Mm-hmm.
You said that the $70,000 covered the salaries for police officers for annually. How many police officers is that? That's not a very high number.
I don't think I gave a figure of $70,000 for police salaries. The actual police salary line item is $300,000. And that is for 4 full-time officers, and there's some money allocated there for part-time and overtime work as well. But we are staffed or budgeted for a 4 full-time department, including the chief in that 4.
And that will continue, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay, any discussion? Okay, I have a
No.
couple of questions. On 8300 Fort Town projects, it has a negative amount.
Which department?
It's on page...
general government?
Page 2.
Page 2.
Those were monies that we received for reimbursement from expenses that were put out by the town
So,
for,
what, for Fort Town stuff?
that was actually the ATHA amount that we received back for the pins that we bought.
Oh, this is for, okay, so this was for the MML on
Yeah.
Main Street.
Yep.
Okay. All right, and on 15, I'm gonna have some glasses on. 15, the scholarship fund, 5350.
Yes.
So was this done before the budget adjustments?
Yes.
So that $1,000 is gonna come out of there next month, right?
Yes.
Okay, because we put it in last year.
Last year, correct.
So we have the right amount for the scholarship fund
Yep.
here, okay. And on page 3, this is payroll, taxes, and benefits, what does that mean?
General government.
Oh, general government. And why is it so high?
The health insurance cost includes the HSA payments. So the health, the $29,721 includes the health insurance HSA amounts.
So I said at the 39%, but the salary line item says it's at 68%. How could that be?
I will check on that one because that is high.
Okay, thank you. And that's it. Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll call.
No, just thank you, Dan, for getting the report to us early. And I kind of like the change.
Format.
Quick,
Yeah.
smart, is that what it's
Yeah.
called?
I like the new report.
QuickBooks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1?
Aye.
Ward 2?
Aye.
Ward 3?
Aye.
Ward 4 is absent, and the mayor votes aye. Okay, thank you so much for that, Mr. Baden. Appreciate it. Okay, the next item on the list is the police report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, folks. I'm glad you're all here, and especially the folks that are watching on TV. Just want to give you a brief overview of some of the initiatives that have occurred because we weren't able to talk with you in July. Mr. Lusk talked about a series of break-ins that were occurring to cars in the Colmar Manor shopping center, and that was around the first week of July. So as a result of that, we put forth a major initiative, not only with the Colmar Manor Police Department, but with assistance from the Cottage City Police Department, where we were almost placing an officer there almost on a 14-hour basis, as much as we could. And we had an education variable message board up in the parking lot. My point is, as a result of that, and thanks to the efforts of the folks that are patrons of the Colmar Manor Shopping Center, we're now going into our 9th week without having an incident there in the Colmar Manor Shopping Center. So that's not the police department. I mean, we play a small role in that, but it's the folks that are sitting out here, the folks that are locking their cars up, that are placing their valuables in their trunk. And this is just not Colmar Manor. Matter of fact, our crime rate, when we look at the surrounding jurisdictions, Colmar Manor and Cottage City across the street, is extremely low. And one of the reasons that is because of the vigilance of the folks that are here and the folks that are listening on TV. But the point I was trying to get to is this. The mayor referenced an individual, and I'll talk about that at the very end. But we live in a community within Colmar Manor and Cottage City, because I'm the chief of both, where we have a very small police department. And we cannot do this job without your participation and without your help. Every time that I've come here, I've given my cell number out, my personal cell, and that cell number is 202-309-6650. And I get calls almost daily from our citizens about issues in Colmar Manor, or Chief, what can you do to help me here or help me there? So my point is that the theft from autos has gone away. We're not sure why that occurred. We didn't place anyone under arrest, but maybe it was our presence there. The mayor talked about progressive, what I try to deal is what's called progressive enforcement. There's a thing called the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. We can go out and give parking tickets and place people under arrest for drinking in public, or impound abandoned autos, and is that within the law? Yes. I choose not to police that way, and I've been criticized a little bit for that. I would rather do like I'm doing right now. If someone has an issue, come and talk with me, and we will try to remedy the problem as best as we can. We live in an area here where we have some very hard-working folks. And it sounds like a soap opera, but this is that I'm trying to explain to you at least my policy and my perception on policing. I love the people here in these communities. Now, some folks will think that's just the chief of police up here saying what you want to hear. Those people who know me know that's not the truth. I am not perfect. The police department makes mistakes almost every day. There's no question about that. We make mistakes. We try not to make the same mistake twice. So in the chief's report, you'll see that there was a theft from an auto in July, of vandalism. But then when you get to August, you'll see it says trespassing an open beverage container. Those people that we dealt with there, this was usually their 3rd or 4th offense. So we'll go to someone, try to explain to them the idea of community involvement, of how they can help the community. We try to reach out and get resources for those folks. But if that problem continues, then we'll do an enforcement initiative. So again, with the trespassing in the open container, that was really, I don't want to say a last resort, because there are folks that if they just don't listen, then we'll take enforcement activities. But when it comes to this police department, I can only tell you that the officers that we have, and I'll speak for myself, I love this community. When I leave here in the afternoon, I listen to that police radio on the way home. I take my portable radio out and I set it inside my house and I listen to it until I go to bed. When I get up in the morning, the very first thing I do is check the crime reports. Why? Because I take every crime that occurs in Colmar Manor personally. Why? Because I see you on a continual basis. It's not like we come in and write a report and then I don't see you. I see you all the time. You'll see in the report, I try to list the training that the officers are going through. The officers, since I've been through here since the January 25th, they have went through more training in 7 months than they did all of last year and a half. But why? Because that's important to me, that these officers get trained so they can come back and provide services. We try to reach out. One of the gentlemen that the mayor referenced criticized, saying, well, Chief Lowry promised that he was going to go to every street and talk to every person, and I did. But I prefaced that by saying that could take me a year or a year and a half. But I will guarantee you that every day that I'm here, I'm not sitting in that office. I'm out talking with people. I've been accused, the same gentleman accused me of not doing anything. And that was his exact words. Now, that gentleman has my phone number. All he has to do is pick up the phone, and I've spoken with him numerous times, just like anyone here. If you were to call me, I will guarantee you that you will get a return call quickly, maybe the moment you're calling me. But that gentleman said the police department's not doing anything. What I wanted to know is, where is that gentleman when we were holding the hand of a woman whose husband had just had a heart attack in front of her and died, and we stayed there with that family for 7 hours? Where is that gentleman when on our first day of school, when it was pouring down rain and these little children are getting off these school buses and they're lost, and our police officers are standing out there in the rain, which we're supposed to be doing, holding the hands of these children and taking them back to Rogers Heights and reuniting them with their mother and fathers? Where is this gentleman when he sent a photo to me and to Mr. Lusk and put it on Facebook, and he took a picture of a gentleman down in the Colmar Manor shopping center and called him a drunken bum and said, these are the types of people that hang out at the Colmar Manor shopping center? Well, I was there in 5 minutes. First of all, the man wasn't intoxicated. He was a gentleman who was homeless and who wanted something to eat. And we fed him and we took him to a homeless shelter. My point, folks, is that, yes, can we do a better job serving you? Absolutely. We never sit on our laurels. But I will guarantee you that I give you my best effort. And if that's not good enough, I serve at the pleasure of the mayor and the council. And I understand that. But this job, this is not a job. This is a calling. A police officer or public safety or a teacher. Those are all callings, and they do that because we love people. So the gentleman that criticized, and he sent out about, and I know this, what's this got to do with the police report? Because this is the police report. This gentleman sent out a significant amount of emails, and all he had to do was pick up the phone and say, Chief, this is what I've heard. Is this true? And I would have been able to tell him, no, that is a lie. It is an absolute lie. It's a misrepresentation of facts. Here's the truth, sir. Here's exactly what happened. And then he ended one of his emails by saying, he alluded to the fact that I'm firing officers so I can hire Prince George's County police officers part-time. That could not be further from the truth. That is a lie. And if the gentleman was standing here right now, I would tell him that. That is an absolute fabrication. It's a lie. And then he ended his email by saying, do you know that Chief Lowry was a former Prince George's County police officer? Well, everybody knows that. When I interviewed for this position, I was with the Prince George's County Police Department for 27 years. That was in 2000. But I also served in NASA as a public servant for 7, in the National Football League for 7, and I was the Assistant Chief of Anne Arundel County for 2 years before coming here. And then he closed it and he said, oh, by the way, has he told you that his son, a former FBI agent, is an opiate addict and that he served time? Yes, when I interviewed for this position, I told everyone, I have 3 wonderful boys. And yes, my son was an FBI agent and served honorably, became addicted to pain medication, and moved to opiates, and moved to heroin, and spent 2 years in the federal penitentiary. And I told people that. But we all have frailties. We all have failures in our lives. But for someone to, how that nexus of my son, who is now a recovering addict, he will always be a recovering addict, but he has a wonderful wife and a wonderful little baby boy who I was with today. And for people to espouse that type of vitriolic things in emails rather than come to me and sit down, I will always be available for you. So I'm not looking for pity. I'm not looking for be put on a pedestal. But what I am saying is that our police department works hard for you. And we're always here for you. I may not be in that office and I may not always be working, but you've always got my cell number. So I encourage you, when you see issues, you call me or you send me an email. My email is wlowry@colmarmanor.org. I may not always be able to do things that you would like me to do, but I will guarantee you I will never slough you off, and I will never not pay attention to you. And so what does that have to do with this police department? That is policing. You can read stats, you can read people that have been arrested, you can read citations and all of those things. This is policing right here. Talking to people, understanding where people come from, that they see the world through different sets of eyes based upon their background and how they were brought up, all of those things. But when Mr. Lusk started and he quoted the Bible, I was brought up, my mother and father told me to treat everyone the same. And I do that. And this gentleman who has written these emails, if you look at every one of my responses, it's, "Sir, here's the issues," and I always close with, "Thank you for your concern." I don't always agree with him. So I will just tell you this. I appreciate you. You are doing a wonderful job securing your houses. The Sergeant Sims and Sergeant Miltonberger, who was here just a moment ago, Sergeant Sims sent me some information, and she said in 2015 we had 826 calls for service. Excuse me, in 2015. In 2016, 938. In 2017, we're up to 1,107. You go, wait, that means the crime rate is up. The crime rate is not up. What that means is that people understand that they can call the police department. We may not always be able to help you all the time, but people are now reaching out and calling the police department. And to me, that is very, very encouraging, folks. So I love being your chief of police. I work hard for you every day. I will guarantee you that. Do I make mistakes? Yes. But I'll try not to make the same mistake the same time, all the time. So thank you for listening to me. I just wanted to hopefully you understand that about me. And so if you ever have a problem, you call my cell, you send me an email, and I'll guarantee you I'll respond to you. Mayor, thank you. Council, thank you. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you. So for the report, is there a motion to accept the chief's report?
Yes, I'll make a motion to state it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4 absent, and the mayor votes aye. Thank you very much, Chief. I want to say something specific about one of the emails that we're referring to. One of the emails implied that, because these are the type of things I don't like to let lay, implied that the chief had broke the Open Meetings Act law. And that's a really important law, which says how we have to let the public know about a meeting when they had the trial board here. Mr. Barr had done the research on it, And while we did post it on the door, and there was informing, a police trial board is specifically exempt from the Open Meeting Act. So again, the gentleman did not have his facts in order, and that's the reason why it's important to check in to find out what the real facts are. And so I'd like to say, I have something here. We work with the Roger Heights is our elementary school, and we often give them funding in order to help them support starting up school. A lot of kids that can't afford their uniforms and things like that. So they sent me a nice little card here. The kids put together this card for us, and it says, "Thank you for all your help, support, and donations for and to Roger Heights Elementary School. We really appreciate you all. Thank you." So, thank you. It's very nice. So the next item on the agenda is, in fact, unfinished business, which there is none, and new business, which there is none. The only thing is that we voted on the resolution for the circuit rider for Brentwood North Brentwood will be the lead on the circuit rider, and we voted on it at the town meeting, but now we need to sign. We voted on it at the work session. Mr. Barr has now sent it, so we need to sign it. Okay, next item would be a committee reports. Do we have a senior report? Mr. Mutchler?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Ed Mutchler. The seniors in August, on August the 16th, their third Wednesday, they had a potluck luncheon here. Next Wednesday, they're going out to luncheon at the Golden Corral. They're looking forward to this coming Saturday for Port Town, and also being here for the town's 90th birthday. And that's about all I have for the seniors.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, the next item is the Garden Club.
Good evening, Mayor. Yes, Doretha Epps, 4309 Lawrence Street. Good evening, Mayor and Council, Mr. Barr, Chief Lowry. I'm wearing two hats, I'm sorry. October, I want to thank Mr. Rufus Luss. He donated some planters to us. Well, and so we got the planters, they're coming up. Hopefully this week. They should be up this week, no later next week. But thank you so much for the planters. October the 16th, which is Portstown Day, we are having moms deliver into the waterfront. We'll be selling the moms $8, right? Yeah, $8. Please come out and help the Garden Club. This is our annual fundraiser. Actually, it's our signature, so we try to sell it every year. In November, we're hosting I'm sorry, I don't have the date, but in November, the third Saturday in November from 9 to 10, a diabetic class. So everybody please come out. Our own Arlene Span will be teaching that class. In December, we will have eggnog in the garden. Oh, let's go back to October. October 31st, we're actually going to do our first annual Halloween in the garden. So if anyone would like to donate pumpkins, so the kids, we will have the pumpkins lined up where we can have the kids come out and pick the pumpkins themselves. So that would be their treat. So thank you all. And our meeting is every third Saturday from 10 to 12. We try to have it, we have 3 rain gardens and 2 garden, East and West Garden. So please come out and visit us and get a plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anyone who wants to donate. It's for the children. It's the cause of the children. It's the pumpkins for the children. They'll be able to pick and choose which pumpkin they want to treat for the garden club.
Okay.
Their trick or treat, so yes.
All right, thank you.
So I'm sorry, guys. I don't have my notes with me because I'm running to my next. Yeah. So thank you all.
You ran in just in time.
Yes, I did.
You
Thank
sure
you.
did. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next item is the green team.
Yes. The Green Team, we met yesterday. We have a great group. We are still looking for more volunteers for our Green Team. We discussed, a couple of our members went out with a survey to the business just to figure out who's recycling, who's not. They were able to meet half of the business. They got a good response. Right now, we're gathering notes and information, but we will be going out to the rest of them. Also, we'll be doing a survey for the residents too, because we really want to teach or maybe learn some more about how it's important to recycle. Our next meeting is October the 9th, which will be here at 6:30. We will have Pepco here to give us an update. Everyone knows Pepco attended our July meeting, and we went over about the trees, and the trees is going to be down. So Pepco will be back at October the 9th to give us an update. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Green Team. Recreation report.
Okay, this Saturday, I want don't forget about Portstown Day at the waterfront. It starts at 12 o'clock. And the following Saturday, we have our 90th birthday in the ball field. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. The next item is Prince George's County Municipal Association.
I'll give this.
Jackson.
Yeah, I'll give this report for Councilmember Mendoza. She is a board member. Prince George's County Municipal PGCMA. Sorry, I tried to say it. PGCMA. They met in August for a retreat. They went over some legislative issues they want to discuss with the county and the state and the delegates. So they'll bring that information back to us. The next meeting will be September the 21st, and that meeting will be held in Greenbelt. Councilmember Mendoza will be giving a report going forward because I'm no longer a board member, but I will be still attending the meetings with her. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, before we go to citizens' comments, just a couple other things I want to mention. Like I said, I'm going to be sending out a form requesting some contact information so we can better serve you. When I send it out, I'm also going to have a form for you to fill out. If there is a tree that Pepco is going to be removing from your location, everyone has a right to request another tree be planted, not necessarily in the same place, but replanted. And so it's a very informal thing they do. So, and a lot of people don't know this. So we're gonna request that if you are one whose tree is gonna be removed, please fill out this form and send it back to us or bring it up here so that we can send it over to Pepco and that we can get all the trees replaced that get taken down. So I also wanted to just say something about this building real quick, because one of the things that was really important to me, we've got Delegate Fennell sitting here right now, and she was our mayor, and worked tirelessly to get this building built. And when I first campaigned to be mayor, one of the things on my mind was getting this building used. And as I've been sitting up in here almost every day, and watching the flow from the playground program being in here to the open gym, and the young men come in the evening, and sometimes there's 40 people. I mean, right, it's almost like we're closed now, but we open till 9 o'clock. We start at 2 on Mondays and Wednesdays. The young people come in around 2 or 3 o'clock, and then around 5 o'clock or so, the young men come in, and we watch them on the camera, so I can see them all the time, and I'm like, look at that. Look at the energy of what's going on in here. That's like 40 young men who are not on the street right now being idle. and really pushing, and the word of mouth that brings more of them in here. And then our hall rentals, I think that we were projected, I didn't see the last budget, but we were projected to do $90,000 in the hall rentals. This building often has on the weekend something going on up here, and people set it up so beautifully sometimes. It's incredible. And something going on downstairs because we do children birthday parties down in the gym, or baby showers and so forth. And then the outreach room, of course, has give the seniors, but then we have Zumba and now Monica's coming back with the Dance Fit and board game. So the building has come alive. And I want to thank everybody out there in the word of mouth and everybody who has been working with us to really help. It takes a lot to take care of this building too, so I got to thank my public works for real, and all the help we get to get that done. So I'm looking forward to us even using it a little bit more. I want to focus in the coming year on getting businesses to use it as a retreat during the day, because when the kids are not here, and even when the kids are here, they're usually in the basement. So this room during the day, during the week, is not active. It's heavily active on the weekend, so we still have opportunity to do some more. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So thank you. I wanted to say that, and now we'll go on to citizen comments. Any citizen comments?
Mayor and Cancer, good to see you. Mr. Baden, always a pleasure to see you. Chief, always a pleasure. I'm Delegate Diana Fennell from the 47th District, and I'm also a citizen. I do want to say thank you so much for each and every one of you that came out on Saturday for the 47th District Family and Friends Day cookout. It was phenomenal. I just want to say thank you. This is my third meeting, and actually once I leave here, I'm going home, but I want to always make sure that I do come to Colmar Manor and just to say hello and just to say thank you, because this is home. So I just want to just say thank you to you guys and for everything. Also on the 90th anniversary, I will be giving out, I think it's about 150 book bag strings that I'll be giving out. I have tons of books, so we'll be giving those out on the 90th anniversary. So I look forward to doing that also. And I also want to thank you all too in reference to Delegate Diana Fennell birthday give back. As you know, I give back to the community, and I thank you all so much for partnering with me and making sure that we're able to make that happen. So thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. It's good to see you all tonight. It's good to see familiar faces. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Come back here to the pulpit. I'm not a citizen, but I'm a constituent, so I guess that gives me a place to speak. And I'm a receiver. I'm a receiver of services. And I mentioned earlier this evening, one of my favorite phrases from Proverbs: where there is no leadership, the people perish. We are blessed by leadership. We've seen that leadership tonight at this meeting, haven't we? It has been fantastic. Mayor Sadara, Chief Lowry, thank you so much for your leadership, for your heartfelt and honest comments. We are blessed by your leadership.
Thank you.
I get to stand up and sort of I'm here for my partners and for my tenants, but so much happens behind the scenes, just like it does, with the town. And the person in the shopping center who really does the work from the management side is my partner, Josh Fernebach. And I just want to read what Josh said the other day, because we've been working closely with the chief. And Josh wrote me, and this was unsolicited, he wrote me a little text and said, "The chief has been great responsive and proactive. We are very blessed. You hired him. Thank you so much, and thank you, Chief. The 90th anniversary of the town is coming up. We're very excited about that. In the shopping center, we've been on the journey with you for a third of that time, and we'll be sending a $1,000 check to support it. So God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Any further comments? Mr. Muchler?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. I think you all did a good job of painting the curbs. Thank you very much. But I have one problem, and you know what my problem is.
Yes.
Too close to the corner. People are not paying attention. Fire trucks are having problems getting around these corners. And once a fire truck hits something parked, we have to wait till the investigator gets there, takes a report. Sometimes it has to take this driver out of service for 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes a month. We're out of a driver. Something has to be done about them parking too close to the intersection. The yellow lines are there. They're not paying attention to them. So I wish something would be done about that.
All right, thank you.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mushler.
Everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Yolanda Barnett, and I've been back and forth. For those who know, I was out of town, back in town. But I would like to take this opportunity to publicly say that, and I was a former council member years ago, and just being up here recently, I have noticed, and I want everyone to note, that the mayor is up here every day beyond an 8 hours day. And to me, that's just, that's just beyond anyone's imagination that someone can devote. Because I know as council members and mayor, the stipend doesn't cover anyone's salary. But I just wanted to take this opportunity for those who do not know how much time and effort the mayor has been putting into the office up here, working at trying to get government running in a very efficient way. And I just want to say thank you, and I solicit the assistance from each council member to give her the support, because if the government paid her for the hours that I have noted her being up here, you couldn't afford that. So I just wanted to say that publicly, that I, as a re-resident, if there's such a thing, back in town, and taking note of the hours that she put into this office. It's unbelievable. I don't know when she sleeps, but sometimes I'm up here and I leave and she's still here. And I know that she's not compensated for that monetarily, but I just wanted everyone on the podium and those citizens to know that the hours that she gives to this town is commendable. And I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Do we have any other citizen comments? Okay. Well, with that said, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion to adjourn the meeting.
There's second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.